Hello everybody, it's IELTS teacher Jenny here with my latest video. Today I'm going to talk about one of the most recent IELTS topics, which is describe a situation when you got stuck in a traffic jam. Now I'm sure we've all experienced this at some point in our life, so I think it should be a pretty easy topic for you to explain. First thing we're going to do though today is do a little bit of brainstorming about some key vocabulary that we can use. Okay, so of course, you know, I'm a big fan of paraphrasing. It's so important that we paraphrase our opening sentence and we make a statement that we make the examiner go, wow, this sounds exciting. I want to listen to the student instead of just repeating the question that quite frankly, the examiner knows already. Okay, so let's brainstorm some vocabulary here. So for traffic jam, what kind of words could we use? So we could use something like congestion, gridlock, there was a roadblock, okay? Or it was during rush hour, okay? So during rush hour, I was stuck in the traffic jam, okay? Some other useful words we can use as well would be commute. So for example, I commute to work. Now, for the reasons behind the traffic jam, so that means what caused the traffic jam. So it could be a traffic accident, okay? So it could be an accident, 1, 2 cars, multiple cars. Could be what we call a pile-up when it's multiple cars together causing a traffic jam, yeah. It could be a dramatic change in the weather, okay? So the weather could be a beautiful sunny day, then all of a sudden starts raining, extremely heavy, or it could be snow, things like that can cause the traffic to slow down because we have to drive with much more care and caution. Or it could just be simply some road construction, which these days is also pretty common, okay? So when we want to say that the traffic stopped, again, we can look at some better vocabulary. So we came to a standstill, okay? That means the traffic stopped. To move slowly, we can also describe it as at a snail's pace, okay? So now let's make our story, okay? So we're gonna put it together. So if you've watched my previous videos, you know I always work on the structure. So a good introduction, introduce your answer, try to paraphrase and try not to just repeat the question. A little bit of background about how you ended up in this situation. Then your main story, what happened? What is the actual event that you are telling, and retell it like a story. Get excited about telling it to the examiner because this will help you with your fluency score because it improves your intonation, okay? After that, a little bit about your feelings and conclude the story about how it ended as well. Okay, so here is my example for this topic. So last month, while on my commute to work, I was held up in some traffic congestion. It was a Friday morning and I had a relatively early meeting, so I opted to take a taxi instead of my usual subway. However, about 5 minutes of being in the car, the weather changed dramatically. It started raining cats and dogs and brought the traffic to a standstill. We sat there for around 30 minutes before we started to move again. As we drove along at a snail's pace, my anxiety levels rose. The meeting I was heading to was of vital importance to my company and future business. Being late was just not an option. I could see the frustration on the driver's face. He then apologized to me profusely, but I knew it was out of his control. With nothing else to do, I browsed the web and found that this adverse weather would only last for about 20 more minutes, so hopefully I wouldn't be so late. I decided to use my time productively. I took out my presentation notes and started to rehearse them. And then, knowing that I was actually not going to make the meeting on time, I reached out to the meeting coordinator. I explained my predicament, and thankfully, she was pretty understanding and delayed the meeting for 1 hour. Finally, I reached my office. My clients were all sitting there waiting patiently in the boardroom. They were understanding as I apologized to them, and the meeting commenced. I learned a valuable lesson that day, and it was basically not to take a taxi when you're in a hurry. Public transport is indeed a much more reliable service. So this was a time when I was delayed in traffic. Okay, so you can see from my story, I've used some good vocabulary there. I've used commute to work. I've used the traffic congestion, linked it with things like however, okay? A good idiom about the rain, raining cats and dogs. Yep, so some good vocabulary. It was of vital importance rather than just say it was important, okay? So it's all about trying to inject some good key vocabulary into your speaking. Tell a story, get passionate, and put feelings into it. And then you will have a good IELTS speaking performance. Okay, so I hope this helps you. This is IELTS teacher Jenny. If you're interested in signing up for any of my classes, drop me a message and we will start the journey together. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.